Democratic governors finally saying the felon has dementia? Let's look into that. Welcome to Scrying Out Loud. My name is Trevor. First off, a huge thank you to everybody who's subscribed to the channel. Thank you for liking, watching, hyping the videos, sharing the videos, watching them all the way to the end. These are the things that really help the videos get to more people. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So Governor Pritzker and Governor Newsom have both said that the felon has dementia. Uh, let's kind of look at what the public's reaction to this is. That's what I'm more interested in. And a number of you have asked me over the months whether the 25th Amendment is something that's possible to have him removed. We'll take a look. I kind of don't think so, but I think it's worth taking a look. Um, and let's look to see, has the felon actually stolen money from the United States government? There's certainly lots of accusations out there. There's lots of reasons to believe that this is the case, but I mean, actually stole money, not like used it to make money, but stole money. And let's look at Tyler Robinson, the person who's accused of murdering Charlie Kirk. Will he be found guilty or not guilty? I have some thoughts on that. So let's start with Tyler Robinson and Charlie Kirk. Um, so will he be found guilty, not guilty? You know, every time I have looked into this, which hasn't been a lot, but two or three times, um, I just keep seeing, like a not an empty jury box, but a jury box with like vague images of people in it. And then above them, I keep seeing like pictures of Charlie Kirk, but not all of them, just a few. And I just kind of feel like this might turn out to be like the Luigi Mannioni type of situation where there's some juror that gets on the trial for or gets on the jury uh, for the sole purposes of voting not guilty, regardless of the evidence. Now, I'm not saying that he's guilty or not guilty. I'm saying that's what it feels like to me. The question is, even if there was just one juror, that can prevent a conviction, right? So we definitely have the devil card underneath toxicity, mis and disinformation. Um, so one person can cause a hung jury, right? They can't get an acquittal with just one person. But um, let's take a look at that. What do we need to know about the Tyler Robinson trial? Um, Circles of support here. Now he does have a reasonably decent sized defense team. Utah does have some um, it seems like there's some laws there to make sure that death penalty cases do get a reasonable defense. So I think there's like 6 or 7 lawyers on his team. So that's good. We get the Ace of Wands, this fiery type of new beginning. And I think this is just kind of a card representing the actual assassination here. Um, we get illusioned and delusion, but people deep in thought, right? Look at the guy. He's deep in thought because there's too many possibilities of what happened, which is kind of the sense that I kind of get. Um, we get the truth in the environment around the Ace of Swords. At the center of the reading, we get the High Priestess, things going on behind the scenes that we can't see. Um, I think investigations are continuing. We get the Ten of Swords, complete and utter downfall here. And we get the felon, the King of Pentacles. Now, yeah, he's going to come up in the trial at some point. Um, I'm not sure how, but at some point he's going to come up. We get the Three of Wands. Something's inevitable. It's going to happen. And we get the Two of Wands. Again, this daydreamy type of, wondering what really happened. So, I think Tyler Robinson has some support. I think there'll be financial money, I think will be raised. I think there are things going on behind the scenes, and I think at the end of the day, I think the jury doesn't really know what happened. That's the way it feels. Like the defense does a good enough job to make it that it's not that clear cut. Um, the felon, I think, is used as a distraction here. Part of the stuff going on behind the scenes, and at the end of the trial, everyone's looking around and they're going, "Well, it could be this, it could be that." Like not all the pieces fall in together. Um, and then in the environment around, we have, the assassination, and then we have the truth, and we have downfall, and we have an inevitability, which might seem like a contradiction, but I don't think it is at all. I think what it's saying is that uh, the downfall isn't that of Mr. Robinson, but rather the people that rushed this the situation. Like, did they investigate anybody else? Um, I mean, I guess, you think you got the gun, you got the stuff, maybe they feel like they didn't need to. I feel like there's more to the story, and I've always felt like that. There'll be lots of fighting, of course there will. It's a trial, and then we get a new beginning, and the Nine of Pentacles and the Strength card. So if I were to bet on this, and of course it's not going to go to trial, and the trial's not going to be concluded anytime soon. Um, my bet is that he's found that it's probably a mistrial. Uh, if not found not guilty. I'd be really surprised if he was found guilty at the first trial. I think the first trial will be a mistrial. Okay. Um, all right. So has the felon stolen money from the United States government in like a very egregious way, not just funneling money, but actually stealing money? Let's see. Stolen money from the US. What do we need to know about that? We need to know about this. I've always seen that his kids don't inherit a lot, but I don't know why. I thought it was because of a lot of the lawsuits, but then the New York appeals court lessened the fine. Um, Things behind the scenes that we can't see. The High Priestess, the Four of Cups, uh, things happening underneath our nose, so to speak. And the Page of Pentacles, um, fiery type of messages here. And then the Empress card, Russia, that resonates with me. And then we get the World card at the center. The end of a cycle, the world is watching. And the King of Wands. This is more of a this feels more like a Gavin Newsom type of energy, or JB Pritzker type of energy. And we get the Devil, deceit, deception, dishonesty. We get justice. And we get being wounded in battle, the Five of Swords. So, I mean, these are tarot readings. They're for entertainment purposes only. I could be right. I could be wrong. It feels like things happened behind the scenes while the world wasn't paying attention. And here's the felon making off with some loot. Uh, Lots of lies, misdirection while the world wasn't watching, but eventually we're going to learn about it. I think somehow Russia's part of this story. Uh, it happened kind of underneath our nose. It's going to take the right person to sniff it out and make it known, but then there'll be some sort of accountability here because he didn't do it alone. I mean, he didn't do it with a large group of people, but he certainly didn't do it alone. He's not that capable, but somebody cooking the books is probably what happened. So it's just like a financial accounting thing that needs to take place. Here he is in his reading, along with the Queen of Pentacles, which is interesting, and messages about money, and we get the victory card. Did he steal money from the US? Probably. That would be my guess. Probably. But in his sick mind, he probably didn't think of it as stealing because he's just that despicable. So, yeah. Okay, so Governor Pritzker and Governor Newsom have just come out flat out and said the felon has dementia. And uh, what does the public think about this? Does the public think that the felon has dementia? Does the public think that the felon has dementia? Are these winning arguments? And I think they are. I could always see like these images of people like Jasmine Crockett, like asking people, when did you know he had dementia? And like if Vance tries to run in 28, being asked, why were you defending somebody that you knew had dementia? Why did you let him have the nuclear codes? Things along those lines. Here he is in the reading, the King of Pentacles. It's the card for the felon. Um, I think people do see this as a very crossroads type of time in history. It's like, how much longer can we go with him being just off his rocker? I think people want him constrained and confined, and that's not happening with the Eight of Swords. People want guardrails put up in place, the Nine of Wands. So I don't think it's a question of do they think he has it. I think it's a question of what they want done about it. We get the Hierophant at the center of the reading, the church, the court, the Pope. Here, I think the courts are the one in question. And we get the Five of Wands. There's a lot of argument back and forth about this. And we get the Eight of Wands. If he continues on this planet, I think the dementia will get worse and worse and worse, and it'll happen quite fast. In the Queen of Wands, discernment, this kind of prosecutorial type of energy, this real observation that I think the country was lacking a year ago, but it really feels like people are paying attention because things aren't going the best in the US. And the Page of Wands, fiery messages coming forward. So six of the nine cards are wands, which are about fire and passion. And yeah, so people know. Uh, you know, the felon, um, has the courts to keep has been using the courts to keep a lot of these messages from coming out. Uh, but they're going to start to come out too fast for him to keep up with the number of lawsuits he needs, and it's going to box him into a corner. And plus, he would have to release medical records if he ever sued anybody for saying things like this. Um, the Four of Wands, the voters, people are thinking this is a big point in time. Then we have the Five of Wands, the energy grows, right? People are getting angrier. The Nine of Wands, people want guardrails put in place, and people are observing with their own eyes in real time just how bad this situation is. So, um, and underneath here we have messages coming forward, and we have death. So, and then we have the spy in the camp. So the Page of Swords. I still think that he goes before all of this is needed to happen, but it is a curious question to ask. So let's first just ask, are there any talks of the 25th Amendment? Are there any talks? Just yes or no here. Any talks about using the 25th Amendment to remove him? Are there any talks about doing that? Loss and messages and stability. So maybe. I'm a little doubtful, but maybe. Well, let's just ask the question straight up. Well, what do we need to know about the felon in the 25th Amendment? We need to know about the felon in the 25th Amendment. We need to know about the felon in the 25th Amendment. There's a lot of juggling here and overseas influence. I think him being gone ruins a lot of the fleecing that's going. But there's a lot of volatility around this topic too. Have there been discussions about his mental faculties? That I think is for sure. Have there been discussions about the 25th Amendment? That I'm not quite so sure. We get the Ace of Wands, new leadership, and again, that always feels like VANCE these days. Um, Complete and utter downfall. Yeah, the Six of Cups, the next generation. And the Hermit card, isolation, loneliness, introspection. The Lover's card, choices, and the end of a life cycle, the World's card, and the Hanged Man, pausing, suspending, seeing things from a different perspective. So I think there's a lot of questions about what he's been doing foreign policy wise that don't make any sense. The way he's seeing the future of the country that doesn't make any sense. But people are just waiting. I don't think people are ready to act on it. People have made their choices. I don't think they really necessarily care exactly what the future looks like, but they are wanting new leadership. And I think that's the gamble that they're making, is that his health is so volatile that um, he really can't do anything by himself, and this leads to his downfall and ultimately the end of his life cycle. So I just don't think there's time for that to happen. But I also think, fiery messages coming forward from Newsom and Pritzker, these are helping. Bombshells and surprises, I think we'll continue to see more and more videos of him acting demented. The magician, he has everything kind of at his disposal, the best healthcare he can have. But they're trying to keep him away from things. So, you know, will the 25th Amendment happen? I don't think so. I don't think there's time. I don't think he's around that long, but let's do ask, will he be removed? Just yes or no. Will he be removed before he dies? Emotional messages. No, he's got too much support. Three of Pentacles. And, you know, the laws are pretty clear on this. He would have to resign or be removed with the 25th Amendment. There's no other choice. So I don't think so. All right. Thank you for watching. I'll be back with another video soon.